This is a second stimulus check update. In this video, I'll go over the latest updates in regards to getting a second stimulus check, as well as the current rental assistance programs. First, let me give you a quick update of what's going on. The Democrats put forth their own version of a stimulus package, which will give Americans a one-time payment of $1,200. President Trump a few days ago said that the next stimulus package will be very generous and that it'll be announced in about 2 weeks, which brings that timeline to early July. And Senate Republicans have said that they want to wait until late July before passing any more stimulus checks to the American people. So Pat Toomey, one of the Senate Republicans who is against more stimulus checks, here's what he says. I'm a skeptic about the idea of doing that. That was an emergency measure taken when we were in full-blown crisis, and frankly knew it was wildly inefficient because all kinds of people were getting checks whose work was not jeopardized. Many recipients of the checks didn't have any lost income or were government employees or retirees. So I think this is another disrespectful comment from Senator Toomey. I mentioned his other disrespectful comment the other day in another video. I don't know what he has against senior citizens and retirees, but just because someone is receiving Social Security income doesn't mean that that's their only source of income. A lot of retirees are working other jobs because the Social Security income is not enough to cover the bills. Once again, Senator Toomey is disrespecting an entire generation that poured decades of their life into working hard and building up the economy so that his generation, as well as my generation and my daughter's generation, could live a better life. Senator Pat Toomey has a net worth of $5 million back in 2017, so he has no idea how to relate to the people that he is criticizing. Another senator opposing more stimulus checks to the American people is John Cornyn from Texas. He says the round of $1,200 checks was necessary at the beginning, and then he says, I don't see the compelling need for another round now. I find it hypocritical that Senator Cornyn doesn't want to give more stimulus checks to struggling Americans, but yet he wants to reduce taxes and royalties on the oil sector. So he says he wants to allow oil companies to reduce their federal taxes and royalty payments during the coronavirus pandemic. So he's okay with helping out billion-dollar companies, but not Americans who could barely scrape by and pay their rent and pay for their food. And John Cornyn's net worth in 2017 was $1.6 million. So how can someone with a salary of $174,000 a year and worth over $1 million, how can they relate to Americans who are on the verge of eviction with grocery prices rising, jobs lost and not coming back? Let me know what you think about these two senators' remarks down in the comments below. Not sure if I'm being too critical on them. I just don't think they understand the big picture of the struggling Americans that they are supposed to be helping. Another factor that the senators aren't taking into account when giving stimulus checks sooner is that the American people are on the verge of an eviction crisis within the next few weeks. So even before the pandemic, nearly half of the 43 million American households that rent were rent burdened. 10 million were severely rent burning, meaning that they spend more than half of their income each month on rent. So if someone is spending a lot of money on rent, especially in high cost of living states, jobs are lost. Even if they get their jobs later on, then the paycheck is still delayed from the time that they start working. Fortunately, some states are actually taking action with this. So Indiana is extending the eviction foreclosure moratorium until August 1st. For a lot of other states, it ends at the end of June, which means July 1st is when they're going to start processing the evictions. Here's an update of what's going on with the current stimulus proposals. So the Emergency Money for the People Act, which was going to give $2,000 per month, I want to be real with you, it is not gaining any traction and it is very unlikely of happening. As much as I would like it to happen, and I think it could help out so many Americans with the financial struggles that are going on, I don't think it's going to happen. Currently, there are two back-to-work bonuses. One is to give $450 reemployment benefit, and then a 2-time $600 weekly payment, which would give $1,200 for people to go back to work. A lot of people find this unfair because they're getting paid to go back to work when many other people lost their job and are struggling to find work. A second round of the PPP, which is the Paycheck Protection Program, which would directly benefit businesses. Then there is the Skills Renewal Act, which would give a $4,000 tax credit for someone who wants to learn about skills training of professions that are in need. Then recently, just came out a couple of days ago, the TRIP Act. This is the one that'll give $4,000 per adult, $8,000 for a joint filers for a couple, and that is per year. So you could get many thousands of dollars from that, plus an extra $500 per child. So when it comes to the TRIP Act, a lot of people aren't really in favor of it. The reason why is because, or the reason why I don't like it is because it only it only benefits the people who could afford to take these vacations and travel. Also, it's not really the best use of money. There's a lot of people who are struggling who could use that money more than people who could afford to travel. When I first mentioned the TRIP Act, I asked you what you thought. Laylag19 said, I don't have the money for travel, in danger of being laid off or getting furloughed. This is for the wealthy only. What else is new? So that seems to be the sentiment that a lot of people feel about the TRIP Act. Tell me what you think. Is there anyone in support of the TRIP Act? I just think that this money could be used, like Laylag said, for people to pay their rent, jobs are lost, to pay for their bills, and pay for food for their family. Another factor that could put pressure on the Senate Republicans to pass the second stimulus checks faster would be the resurgence of the virus. So yesterday, the US hits highest single day of new coronavirus cases, breaking the previous April record by 9,000 cases. And just to give you a reference point, so here are the new cases per day in the US. So as we see in the beginning, it was a big spike. And then as things shut down and people were social distancing, it went down a little bit. And with everything reopening, we have another spike, which is, I guess, higher than what we had before. Some people say that the increased testing might do it. Let me know what you think about this. Just to let you know, if you are waiting for the second stimulus check, there are so many states, cities, counties, and towns that are offering their own versions of stimulus checks, as well as rental assistance programs, utility assistance programs. So I'll go over those now. If you have any questions about your specific area, let me know down in the comments below, and I might mention it in a future video. First comment comes from Georgia Colin. Any assistance in Connecticut? Yes. So they are providing $1,000 grants that will given directly to landlords of 2,500 individuals or families that were not eligible for federal stimulus checks. Next comment comes from Chrissy Love. Does Dallas, Texas have any assistance resource available for its residents? Yes. So what I found is that so Dallas County, they are offering resident assistance programs that would be for rent, mortgage, up to $1,500 per month for a maximum of 3 months. Also, in the process of doing a lot of this research, I've been compiling a document with a lot of these current and local stimulus programs. If you want that, it's completely free. You could click the link down in the description below. Jackie Swabby asked, I'm in New York and would like to know if there's access to information for a rental assistance. Yes, so just a couple of days ago, actually, there's a new rental relief program that provides up to $100 million in rent subsidies to eligible New Yorkers based on some criteria. Also, a new mortgage forbearance law allowing New Yorkers to delay their mortgage for up to 360 days. So that'll definitely help out. Next comment comes from Natasha Reed. Any housing utility help in Indiana? Yes, so this is actually just news that just came out yesterday as well. So they announced a new program that will provide up to $500 per month for households unable to pay rent due to the pandemic. And BMG Music Group TV asks, what about the assistance programs in Los Angeles, California? So this actually just passed a couple of days ago. So they're going to have a $100 million rent relief program, and it is going to provide up to $2,000 in rental assistance for low-income households who have lost work, fallen ill, or had to assist sick family members during the crisis. Also, if you're looking for other free money opportunities, you could sign up through Webull and get free stocks. So if you just sign up, you get a free stock. If you put $100 in the account, you get a second free stock valued up to $1,400. If you want a third free stock, you could sign up through Robinhood. If you want another 5 free stocks, I have a spreadsheet down below. Basically, you get the stock, you could sell it, cash it out, put that money into your bank account, and that's free money. And if you want to watch the latest second stimulus check updates, you could click this playlist over here. And if you want to learn 6 ways of how to make money from home, you could click this video over here. It's on my second channel called Wise Sense, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.